I think I've realized an issue with Jonathan as a protagonist. So, like, I have a theory. Someone's probably come up with something similar before me, a more refined version of this. In a fictional work, especially at the start, in a traditional story, with a protagonist, character arc, that sort of thing, it's important at the start to make the audience want to see the protagonist, like, grow and overcome whatever it is they're trying to overcome. Um, and I think there are three sort of core ways to do this. It's not all. Normally, it's not exclusively one or the other. Normally, it's a mix of the three. But you need your protagonist to be relatable, likable, or sympathetic. At least one of those three things. And Jonathan just isn't any of those. Like, he's not relatable to the target audience or any. He's upper crust nobility, has never really had to work for much, just has a goal of being a true gentleman because he has nothing else to fucking worry about in his life.
It's just a very general, like, you could boil it down to a very basic goal of just self-improvement. But self-improvement that he would not have to work to do, because he's gonna go to a fancy fucking school. He's gonna learn to be confident. The only thing he has to overcome is Dio, who is just far more interesting.
It's such a form of self-improvement that's so alien to the average audience, though. The average people want to become a better person, or, like, better professionally, or more skilled, or just more wise or responsible. Not necessarily, I want to be better at being a rich person. Not, I want to embody the idea of an English gentleman, Like, that really alienates Jonathan from the audience. That's relatability. Sympathetic is the one I think Jonathan comes the closest to, in that, like, even if a character isn't like... Actually, let's talk about likable first, since sympathetic, I think, comes the closest. Jonathan's not likable. He at best, he's endearing in how fucking breathtakingly stupid he is later on. And that's later on. That's not at the start. Jonathan's aggressively unlikable at the start. Like, it sort of comes close at where he, like, jumps to the aid of Erina and is an underdog, is actually losing a fight. But then it completely undermines that. He's like, no, fuck off. I'm doing it because I want to be an English gentleman. That's why and just really hurts any chance at being likable. Especially since he's contrasted to Dio, who's, had a much harder life. And that leads into sympathetic. You could maybe argue that, like, he has a sympathetic goal of, a noble goal that we want him to achieve, becoming a good gentleman. But he's contrasted against Dio, who's such an innately more sympathetic character in his backstory at the start, that it leaves Jonathan in this place of, like, there's no reason to be on his side at the start.
And what's funny about that is Dio is portrayed as evil for being ambitious.
Yeah.
Whereas he had a higher wall to climb than Jonathan ever had. Like, he needed ambition to get anywhere to... No, he didn't even need ambition to get to Jonathan's level. He needed ambition to get, like, several million rungs above Jonathan, once he'd already surpassed him. Also, that is some fucking leaning. This is the Ogre Street gang. Led by perennial best character in part 1, Speedway.
I don't remember these two looking like this.
They are named. Fuck if I remember their names.
I don't remember them looking like that.
Neither do I, to be quite honest.
Okay, but no, yeah, let's compare, like, Dio. Likability. One of the most tried and true ways to make a character likable is to make them crafty, to make them succeed because of their wits. Audiences, most people think they're smart, and so that means they tend to, like, relate to connect with characters who are also smart, like they think they are. They do this with Jonathan, or with Joseph in part 2, by making him succeed using his crap. What the fuck is going on, by the way?
They're really playing up the Razor hat. The Razor hat gets so underused.
Does it, is it not in gameplay?
I believe in gameplay you can use the Razor hat if you play as Speedwagon. But this is the worst fight in the game so far.
Ooh,
I'm going to be saying that a lot. Like, every fight just kind of tops the last one in terms of just being awful. But, so, the rules of fights change a lot in this game. They don't tell you this. You just actually they might. It's in Japanese, for crying out loud. Yeah. I can't claim they don't tell me, but... Yeah, okay, I take that back. So, I don't know the rules of the fight, and it's my fault. But the game is still terrible. But some fights you only have to take out the quote-unquote leader character. Sometimes you have to do all of them, and it just, depending on fight.
So which is this?
This is a everyone must go fight. God. As you can see from the way I'm fighting, I'm kind of banking on it being not that kind of fight.
Wait, but isn't this the first fight with a group, aside from the bullies at the start, or have I already forgotten parts of this game?
You've forgotten 2 confrontations with Dio in a row.
Wait, Dio fought with other people? No, but right.
Jonathan
but my point,
Dio 3 times.
Right, but my point is that was one guy, so of course you just have to beat the leader because there's only one. You also have to beat everyone there. This is the first time since the first fight that there's been a gang to fight.
Yeah, okay, I get your point now. Yes, I believe in that fight it was everyone must go as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I say I believe. I never took either one of them out.
True. Yeah. So, yeah, the way to win that fight was to just lose.
Yeah, which I learned way too slowly. Now I think about it, I think that fight didn't have a time limit. God, what a piss take is that?
Yeah, if any fight should have had a time limit where you automatically lose. Wow, they just let. I love that. Okay, honestly, that's a fucking
this game even more.
That's a power move on the part of the developers.
Hey, we got a time limit, a 5-minute time limit on every fight. What about this one that seems like you could win if you tried hard enough, but you're not meant to?
Oh, that's so good.
I guess you just couldn't physically do enough damage in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You just needed that time in case you were going for it.
Okay, so this is where you realize, oh fuck, I have to beat these assholes too.
Yeah. I think this is my 3rd attempt. The controls are not conducive for fighting more than one opponent.
Jonathan's head is so fucking small.
Yeah. What else? This is the fight in Storytime. This is the fight where, Speedwagon decides, I respect this man. He is a gentleman because he didn't kill someone. He just stared a whole gang down and said, nah, I ain't about this shit.
Dio also beat up Jonathan without killing him. Is he a fucking gentleman in Speedwagon's eyes?
I guess it's just who he met first.
Oh, that would be such a good, alternate history. Speedwagon becomes loyal to Dio.
I don't know, Speedwagon just basically now spends the rest of part 1 as Jonathan's hype man. It's impressive how much I like Speedwagon when he has such poor... He does not have a good judge of character.
Yeah, my assessment of Speedwagon is that, he's just some dude in a gang they found in a seedy street. My take on Speedwagon is that he's just completely blitzed off his ass. He is high as fuck. And just this, weird ass, eccentric, noble gentleman dude showed up, beat the shit out of your friends, and was like, no, I will not kill you because I'm a gentleman. And Dio's, 2 half-functioning brain cells are just whoa, fuck. And Jonathan's the second coming of Christ in his eyes, and he never gets sober enough through the course of part 1 to realize this massive mistake. And I'm not just basing this off here. I don't know, the way Speedwagon talks is so clearly faded. He's so out of it, and way too impressed by everything, constantly. He really comes off like he's high, in my opinion.
He hypes the fights up to a ludicrous degree where it's like, he's barely... Like, he explains everything perfectly, yet somehow still comes off as barely on top of what's going on.
I think, like, some people have called Speedwagon, like, a really useless character, which I actually really disagree with. Speedwagon really needs to be here for several reasons. Plot-wise, okay, here, big spoilers, so yeah, if you haven't read part 1, or watched it, you know, get out of here, but, like, everyone dies at the end of part 1, except, like, everyone involved in the main plot at least dies, except Speedwagon. If Speedwagon wasn't there, no one would be around to have actually seen what happened between Jonathan and
No one would have
Dio.
lived long enough to trick everyone into believing that Jonathan was actually
Yeah,
good.
that's the thing. But it's important that it's Speedwagon, because if it was a big publicly known thing that was happening, everyone would know that Jonathan was an immeasurable fuck-up. Zeppeli, too, for that instance, but we'll get to him.
Well, there is another character who survived. You say everyone dies. There is another character who has to survive, but that's, like, less important
but
for the history of Jonathan's
here's the thing.
reputation.
Because, like, there's Erina, too, that she survives as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you're...
Okay, I danced, but
Yeah.
you did not.
No, Erina also survives, but the thing is, she never sees any of this shit. She just hears about it through Speedwagon. So, like, Erina's view of Jonathan is very much not the actual man. It's what she heard about her husband through this, like, homeless dude who followed him around for a week.
And then just became massively successful in the interim.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Oh,
God. What else? There's something I'm forgetting here about Speedwagon. Oh yeah, no, it's about Jonathan. It's just, what's your thoughts and feelings on the fact that throughout the rest of the series, or up to a certain point, Jonathan he becomes not a character, he becomes the embodiment of justice in the series.
It's really fucking weird, because, like, Jonathan isn't even, like, a good executor of justice in this plot, for reasons we'll get to.
He makes very rash decisions that aren't exactly just.
Yeah, his way of carrying out justice has nothing to do with a good... Like, I feel like, to me, when I think of justice, I think of consistency and fairness. Jonathan's decisions are entirely emotionally based. Completely irrational, completely inconsistent. Like, his decisions do not line up. It is entirely what... Like, Jonathan is only capable of feeling one emotion at any given moment. And that changes rapidly. Holy fuck, it's been a long time since gameplay has happened. We've just had this one background with, like, still images over it.
You're gonna judge... Like, everyone's gonna judge me for saying this, but I spent a lot of time playing this game on my phone. It's just like... It's like, you know, I've watched the anime, I could read the manga, I have got very little interest in, but it's like, this is in Japanese, I like the sound of the Japanese language, but I can't read hiragana or kanji.
Nice.
So I'm just like, I look at the scene, I'm like, I vaguely recall what's being said here. By God, it's going on a lot longer. I'm not even sure if it's right to say, by God, it's going on a lot longer, to be honest with you. It just feels it when you have, like, no baseline understanding.
I like just so...
You know,
okay, so Dio is a vampire now, and he's, like, learning his vampire abilities.
No, he's not vampire yet. He's being assaulted by the vampire. He tested it out on a couple of passers-by.
No! Okay, so Dio wasn't even the first vampire. He was, like... He does something intelligent, unlike Jonathan, and, like...
Yeah, he was scientific about it first. He was like, okay, let's try this out on some passers-by. Like, he incites a fight, gets some blood on the mask, jams it on a dude's face. And, like, you know, it was intelligent to a degree, but he did also just create a powerful, angry fucking monster in his presence.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like in another, like, part or something, like, if this wasn't the story of Dio and Jonathan, I could see this being a thing where just, like, it starts because some random scientist dude has this new, like, secret formula he wants to test, grabs a random dude off the street that happens to be, like, Dio, and then turns, you know, Dio into, like, a super vampire. And, like, that's just how he gets his powers, through random chance, you know. This is better than that. But, like, that's on the level that I could see happening in here.
So essentially, Dio just learned, okay, vampires, how do I use this to fuck Jonathan? Just without restraint, it's like, okay, I'm gonna turn myself into a vampire if it'll let me just get a little bit ahead. That's the kind of level of man we're dealing with. And because it's in Japanese, this scene is fantastic. This is the confrontation between Dio and Jonathan and Speedwagon.
That's such a fucking funny... Like, his hand doesn't look like it's part of the same image. He's so, like, weird. Okay, no, that's, like, a page from the manga? Like... I don't know, it's so incongruous with, like...
It's done in 3D, and then a still image has been taken, and then put there, and on the left is what looks closer to a manga panel. So you know who's talking.
No, but on the left is, like...
the same guy.
That's an actual That's the actual model from the game on the left, though.
Yeah, I know. But that there also looks like a 3D model rather than a badly coloured manga panel. And that looks terrible.
It does.
This is almost like a Max Payne tier, but just
like,
worse.
Because it goes from, like...
Max Payne, it was Office Interns.
It goes from, like, okay, here's, like, fucking manga art to, like shitty, like, early Iraqi manga art to fucking our horrible models just posed in Gmod.
So, this scene is fantastic because Jonathan has Dio dead to rights. Like, I've got proof you've been poisoning Dad. I've got some of the poison here. I've got people saying shit. I've got, like, numerous accounts that, like, you did this shit. And Dio nearly talks his way out of it. Like, with all the evidence in the world, he can nearly convince Jonathan of no wrongdoing.
He is a lawyer.
And I'm stealing something from you to explain it. I thought it was a point you would bring up sooner. But you just put it as like, Dio's meant to be a smart character, but he's fucking stupid. But luckily, he was put in the same house as Jonathan, a man stupider than him.
Yeah.
But one person he could conceivably trick.
No, I love that. Dio isn't an intelligent character. His moves are not like, they're not super dumb, but for the most part, he leans on the dumb side as far as characters go. But Dio's masterstroke was finding the one human being so blitheringly stupid that he could just dance mental circles around him. You know, like, that was Dio's one really good, like, move. That is where all of his success came from.
You can't even really say it was Dio's move, though. It was more Dario's
No, yeah,
move.
but, like, it's the reason Dio, like, gets, like, he lucked out so insanely to find the one dude this stupid.
It's like the worst battle of wits that has ever been played.
I respect it, you know, like, I think we need more stuff where it's just, like, two really dumb people, but one's slightly more dumb than the other, instead of all this, like, Sherlock Moriarty shit.
I think that's just the TV show Bottom.
I think that's just like the Ricky Gervais show with Ricky and Carl.
Wait, who's the stupider one?
I mean, honestly,
that was the
Ricky.
most obvious, like, setup in the world.
Who the fuck is that character?
I don't remember, I'm sorry.
I forgot about this, that just the entire police force was convinced to just come on the...
I think Speedwagon did that because I think Speedwagon was like, I respect Jonathan, but I know he's gonna fuck this up. We need like 15 witnesses. Why did they let Jonathan have his little power play if they were just hiding behind the curtain, all of them?
I think they wanted to see where this was going. Like, you know... No, see, here's the thing. Since Dio is a lawyer, he's like... technically one of those dudes is like a judge, and this was technically his trial. They're, like, right now, they tricked him into, like, having his trial right here on the spot.
You know, I'm pretty sure that's massively illegal. But on the other hand, this is a Japanese man's interpretation of Victorian England. So, what the fuck?
I mean, I think you could also just say this is Victorian England. Like, if George Joestar, an aristocrat, wants it, and, like, you know, I mean, this dude's just some, like, little street urchin they picked up. Like, he's not even really human by their legal standards. Speaking, complete tangent here, you're British, I forget, where is it they're supposed to be from? Like, what is their, like, accent supposed to be? You found it
Liverpool. This is Liverpool. It's in fucking Liverpool. Liverpudlians.
Oh, that's a good panel!
They're meant to have a Scouse accent. Or no, Liverpudlian accent, sorry.
This is... Snake, how are you talking when this panel is on screen?
That's an even better one. Just look at the...
I like how it looks like he's trying to just stab him with a normal knife, but Jonathan's, like, sheer stupidity is bending the knife out of the way.
Oh, that was a really bad sacrifice.
It was. That's a good panel.
Filled with very good panels, and that's amazing how in the top right it just looked like a JPEG of the mask had been put on his face.
I'm sorry, that was such a weak version of Dio getting shot out the window.
I know.
You know, I would respect the series as a whole a lot more if it just ended here with Dio getting shot the fuck up and dying, and that's the end of Jojo's bizarre adventure.
Okay, another reason I haven't played all of Eyes of Heaven yet is because it's a crossover. I know at some point Jonathan's going to be brought into the fold. And I just don't want to know. I just don't want to see it, because I know it won't have him seeing that Dio is still around. And in fact, there are like 3 of him. And him just going, oh fuck, I did it all for nothing.
That is gratifying, that Jonathan did it all for nothing.
Because, like, he would see his big extended family and go, oh wow, Erin is pregnant, huh? Oh shit. And then he'd see Dio and go, I hope you guys are dealing with that, because... No, he would just pick up a sword and just immediately think he can solve the problem.
He would. He would solve the problem. We're getting close to the point where things start going well for Jonathan. Minor spoilers
he's
there.
Holding his bleeding, dying dad.
Yeah, it's not happened yet, but it's coming up before too long now.
He's about to turn it around.
God, like, I do want to see Jonathan interacting with, like, his descendants, but at the same time, I don't, because I know it will treat Jonathan...
They'll be reverential.
Yeah, it'll treat Jonathan with way more respect than he deserves.
Like, oh my god, Joseph is gonna just suck up to him so much.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, like, I don't even know how that interaction would go. You know, I just... Jotaro. I think even Jotaro would be made to respect him.
Oh god, he probably would. I don't know.
Be
I can't imagine
Jotaro
showing respect to another human being, though. I don't know.
That's true.
Like, Araki, as much as Araki still, like, sucks up to Jonathan, he sucks up to Jotaro more.
Oh, and that's the thing I have heard about Eyes of Heaven. God, this is like the oldest news. This is like the coldest take.
Wait a minute. Oh my god. It's been so long since gameplay.
I know. Just kind of like jauntily jumping through the window like, hey guys.
It's been, Snake, it's been almost 17 minutes since gameplay has happened.
I know.
What
There's
the
a lot of plot. There's a lot of plot.
They couldn't find a fight in any of this, holy shit.
They should have made up some new gameplay and let you have like a logic battle with Dio playing as Jonathan, so you get really into the character.
I gotta give him credit at not like, just inserting fights that weren't there that accomplished nothing.
No. When I said I respect this game for like its adaptational faithfulness,
yeah,
I meant it. Like they expect you to sit down for nearly 20 minutes with just manga stills. As we've learned, hilarious manga stills. But still, manga stills.
Okay, no, there is...
There is gonna be some gameplay before we're done, but it's the worst fight yet.
God. Okay, sure, apart from that distraction, back to what we were talking about, I have more to say on this. It's really weird to me, because, like, Araki clearly realized that part 1 wasn't going very well.
I think the way I've kind of heard it described him is he realized he couldn't do much with Jonathan as a character. He needed a character who was more freewheeling and, like, could actually get himself into and out of more situations.
Yeah, cause for people who don't know, Jojo was not always going to be a multi-part thing. Jojo's Bizarre Adventure was originally, just this. And then Araki just sort of got like, okay, I can't be doing with this anymore, and came up with Joseph, who's a good protagonist, unlike, Jonathan.
The problem with writing a character like Jonathan is you'd come up with a lot of scenarios, and then you'd probably put Jonathan in and realize this character just doesn't operate in this situation. I can't think of an out, or an angle, or an interesting in.
Yeah.
Joseph
he must
is a lot more flexible.
Yeah. I mean, Joseph, if he's ever in a sticky situation, he just sort of, like, announces that he's actually already outsmarted the enemy and then wins. So, that's pretty convenient.
He's likable and entertaining enough in delivery for you to just kind of go, yeah, I accept it.
But then what baffles me is that, like, he then could write situations for Jotaro and still think they were interesting. I worded that in a very particular way. That came off as pretty harsh.
That was, like, really insulting, and I'm just, like, scrambling to the point that you could put Jotaro in literally any situation, because the man's a fucking statue.
Yeah, like, that's sort of...
He doesn't need to react.
But, like, it gets boring, and I don't know, it's really boggling to me. I don't know how self-aware Araki is, because, like, he clearly thinks that Jotaro is cool. But so does a lot of the audience.
I'm gonna say, as we go into part 6, Jotaro's personality traits have, like, from part, 4 onwards, they start turning against him. Like, the way he acts is clearly starts getting represented as a negative.
Okay, well, there we go, at least. Maybe that's why people don't like part 6, because they actually like Jotaro, because they're dumb.
No, a lot of people's complaints about part 6 is it has a very dry middle. Like, a very dry middle, where it takes a while for things to get moving again.
That's a shame, because that's a problem with so much of... Like, as much as I'll say I didn't really like a lot of Part 3, I think it was... Part 3 and Part 4, neither of them were really boring. They had parts that were drier than others, but it was always, like... It always kept me watching.
I prefer this. I really like part 4, but I really wish the story structure of part 2 had been maintained more, because part 3 is very much fight of the week.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, what's the story? We're going to Egypt. We are starting in Japan. We can't just fly there for various reasons. And then it just kind of goes from there. Also, this fight has introduced a new rule. Now you have to deplete the red health bar as well as the green health bar. Oh my
god. Wait, so it just does that?
Yeah. I mean, for the zombies anyway, you can't beat Dio. You need to take out the zombies.
Oh my god, yeah, he doesn't have... Oh wow, yeah.
He does have a health bar when you hit him, but don't bother. If I'm remembering right, I'm gonna have to backpedal on my own words a bit because I believe I'm correct.
Jonathan had to do the same.
I could have this backwards. I'm sorry, Jonathan should learn to be like me and not have complete faith in everything he's saying. Because, fuck me, it's been a while, this game's bullshit, I can't read Japanese.
See, that...
It could be anything.
That's sort of the thing, of at least 4 parts in, a very running theme in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, is that the Jojo of the part always has like complete and utter faith in themselves, like in everything they say and their decisions. But Jonathan, it's just by far the least earned.
Yeah, they're very, very decisive. That is a trend that has continued. I actually think I do like Jolene so far, but I think she does have by far a better, higher degree of self-doubt. Hey, I remembered it right.
Nice. Wait, so the fight doesn't even matter if you beat Dio or not?
I think he just gets up.
Incredible.
Keeps trucking. Like, his health bar is just kind of, just kind of set dressing.
Incredible.